Have you ever felt it? The sensation of being a ghost in a crowd. You walk into a room, and it's as if the air doesn't even move. You speak, but your words seem to have no weight, floating and disappearing before they reach anyone's ears. You walk down the street, and people's gazes pass right through you, as if you are made of glass. You are there, present in body, but your energy, your presence, is that of an unplugged appliance. And what eats at you the most is seeing the other type of man. He isn't necessarily more handsome, richer, or smarter than you. But when he enters the room, the atmosphere shifts. Conversations pause for a microsecond. Heads turn. Attention, like iron filings drawn to a magnet, turns toward him. His voice has a timbre, a weight, that makes people lean in to listen. His presence takes up space. It's dense, it's real, and when he looks you in the eye, you feel it. You feel the power, and the question that haunts you in the silence of your room is, what's the secret? What does he have that I don't? You've tried everything the modern world told you to try. You learned the pickup lines, bought the expensive clothes, forced an alpha male posture, repeated to yourself in the mirror that you are confident, but none of it works, does it? Because deep down, you feel like a fraud, an actor playing a role that isn't yours. And people, especially women, can feel it from a mile away. They don't feel the actor. They feel the emptiness behind the mask now. What if I told you that this secret is not something you buy, learn, or fake? What if I told you that it is a force that already exists inside you, at this very moment? An energy so potent that nature designated it as the key to the very creation of life, and that the reason you feel invisible, weak, and without impact on the world is because you have been taught, since adolescence, to waste this force in the most casual and trivial way possible. We are talking about your life force, your sexual energy, your semen. Modern society, with its infinite access to pornography and its culture of instant gratification, has committed the greatest crime against masculine potential. It has convinced you that your most sacred force is disposable. It has trained you to believe that ejaculating multiple times a week, or even a day, is healthy, that it's just stress relief. That is a lie that keeps you weak, docile, and most importantly, a good consumer. Think of it as a leak. Imagine you were born with a tank of high-octane fuel, the fuel of your ambition, your mental clarity, your creativity, and your personal magnetism. Now imagine that. Every day, you open a valve and let some of this precious fuel leak down the drain, in exchange for a few seconds of a fleeting empty pleasure. How do you expect your engine to run at full power? How do you expect to have a magnetic presence if your energy field is constantly being drained? The man you admire, the one who commands attention without effort, understood, consciously or unconsciously, the first rule of power: stop the leak. When a man makes the choice to retain this energy, something begins to change. Not overnight, but slowly, deeply, and undeniably. The liquid gold that was once wasted is now reabsorbed by the body. It doesn't disappear. It is transmuted. It rises up your spine, nourishes your brain, strengthens your nervous system, and begins to saturate every cell of your being. And the external world begins to respond to this internal change. This is where the secrets begin to manifest. Your physical presence becomes dense. People don't just see you, they feel you. Your gaze gains a depth, an intensity that makes others hold their breath. Your voice acquires a resonance that vibrates not just in the air, but in the soul of the listener. The energy field around you, your aura expands and becomes palpable. And then, strange things start to happen. People from your past, friends and ex-partners you haven't heard from in years, suddenly send you a message or appear in your dreams. You enter a room and you feel people's intentions before they even speak, as if a sharp intuition is whispering secrets in your ear. Your mind, once clouded by the fog of cheap dopamine, becomes crystal clear. Ideas flow. The solution to complex problems appears like a lightning flash. Does this sound like mysticism? To the modern mind, programmed for materialism and instant pleasure, yes. But to the ancient traditions, the Taoists, the yogis, the alchemists, this was science. They knew that sexual energy is the creative energy of the universe condensed in a man. To waste it is to live as a shadow. To preserve and transmute, it is to align with the very power of creation. In this video, we are not going to talk about vague theories. We are going to dive deep into the 5 hidden and practical secrets of semen retention. We will show you exactly what happens in your energetic field, in your social interactions, and in your own consciousness when you decide to become the guardian and not the spender of your most vital force. If you are tired of being invisible, tired of feeling depleted, and ready to discover the power that has been dormant inside you your entire life, then pay very close attention. The journey to become the man you were born to be doesn't start out there with techniques and masks. It starts in here, with the decision to close off. What you've heard so far has resonated with something deep inside you. If you have felt the truth behind these words, then consider this your starting point. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because this is not just a theory. It is a practical guide for your transformation, and you will want to follow every step. Now, let's get to the first and most immediate effect you will feel when you begin this journey. It is the phenomenon that convinces even the most skeptical that something powerful is, in fact, happening. Let's talk about Secret 1, the expansion of the aura and personal magnetism. In the beginning, the change is so subtle, you might even think it's all in your head. You go about your routine. You go to work, to the gym, to the supermarket, but the world around you starts to treat you differently. This is where the theory becomes a lived experience. People who used to pass you in the office hallway and barely notice you now make eye contact. And it's not a quick, empty glance. It's a look that registers you, that acknowledges you. Strangers on the street, who were once just part of the scenery, seem to gravitate in your direction. A smile from a woman in the coffee line, a nod from a man you've never seen before, a child in the park who stops playing and just stares at you with curiosity. What is happening? You haven't changed your clothes, you haven't changed your haircut, you're not forcing a smile on your face. The change is not external, but the effect is. What you are experiencing is the expansion of your energetic field, or, as some prefer to call it, your aura. Let's demystify this. Think of your body as a bioelectric system. Every thought, every emotion, every beat of your heart generates a tiny electrical impulse. Together, they create an electromagnetic field around you. Science calls this bioelectromagnetism. In layman's terms, it's your vibe, your presence. When you are sick, tired, or depressed, this field is weak, contracted. Your presence is minimal. You are, literally, less perceptible energetically. Seminal energy, or Jing as the Taoists call it, is the densest and most potent battery for this system. It is your primary life force. When you constantly waste it, your system operates in power-saving mode. Your battery is always at 10%. Your energetic field is weak. Your presence is forgettable. But when you stop the leak, when the body begins to reabsorb and accumulate this potent energy, the battery starts to charge. 20%, 50%, 80%. Your nervous system strengthens. Your hormones balance. Your vitality increases. And, as a direct consequence, your bioelectric field expands and intensifies. Your vibe becomes palpable. This is why people react. They are not seeing your aura with their eyes. They are feeling it with their nervous system. It is a subconscious communication, from energy field to energy field. They are drawn not by what you say or do, but by the strength and coherence of the energy you emanate. Your presence now has weight. You become a point of energetic stability in a chaotic world, and people are instinctively drawn to that. It is here that your first test as the hero of your own journey begins. This new magnetism is like a powerful magnet. It attracts metal, but it also attracts scrap metal. You will notice that not only does the positive attention increase, needy, problematic, and manipulative people who previously paid you no mind will suddenly appear in your life. Toxic relationships from the past will try to reconnect. Coworkers will try to unload their problems onto you. Why? Because these people function as energy vampires. They sense, unconsciously, that you have an excess of vitality, an energy that they themselves lack. They approach not to add to your life, but to feed on it. They see in you a source of validation, of strength, of attention. At this point, semen retention ceases to be just a physical practice and becomes a training in discernment. You are forced to become a guardian of your own energy. Your magnetism compels you to develop healthy boundaries. You learn to say no. You learn to feel the intention behind someone's words. Your intuition, fueled by this new mental clarity, begins to alert you. This person strengthens you, or this person drains you. You begin to understand that your energy is a precious resource. It cannot be distributed indiscriminately. You become selective with whom you spend your time, with the environments you frequent, with the conversations you engage in. Protecting your energy becomes just as important as accumulating it. This is the first great revelation of the path. The power to attract is nothing without the power to discern. By becoming magnetically visible to the world, you are forced to become spiritually and emotionally stronger, learning to differentiate who is drawn to your light to also shine, and who is drawn to it to try and extinguish it. The choice, then, becomes clear. To use this new power to attract opportunities and people aligned with your evolution, or to allow your newly won energy to be siphoned away by those who refuse to cultivate their own. I know that, for anyone who hasn't experienced this firsthand, it can all sound very abstract, perhaps even unbelievable. It's one of those things that can only be truly understood through direct experience. That's why I want to open up the comments section to those who are already on this journey. It doesn't matter if it's been for a week or a year. I want to ask you a question, and please feel free to answer, even anonymously, to protect your privacy. What was the first subtle change you noticed in the way people treated you after you began practicing retention? Was it a look, an unexpected conversation, an increase in respect? The comment section below is our laboratory. Share your experience. Your report could be the confirmation that another man, who is just starting out and feeling skeptical, needs to understand that he isn't just imagining things. If the expansion of your aura and your new personal magnetism made you understand that your energy affects the people around you, prepare yourself for the next level. The reach of your energetic field is not limited by physical space. It transcends distance, and, in a way that defies conventional logic, it also travels through time. It is here that secret, too, the resurgence of people and relationships from the past, is revealed. This is one of the most disconcerting and consistently reported phenomena by men who go deep into the practice of semen retention. At first, it seems like a series of bizarre coincidences. You are focused on your work, in a state of mental clarity you haven't felt in years, and suddenly, a notification lights up your phone. It's a message from an ex-girlfriend you haven't spoken to in 3, maybe 5 years. The message is vague. Hey, I dreamt about you last night. Is everything okay? In the same week, an old college friend, someone who has become just a distant memory, calls you out of the blue with an invitation to grab coffee and catch up. You think about a former coworker, and the next day, you run into them at the supermarket. The first, the second, maybe the third time, you chalk it up to chance, synchronicity. The world is small, but when the pattern continues, when the ghosts of your past begin to knock on your door with an inexplicable frequency, you are forced to admit that something much deeper is at play. What is happening is not magic. It is energetic physics. Think of every significant relationship you've ever had, friendships, romances, even intense rivalries as an energetic cord that was created between you and the other person. When the relationship ends or distance separates you, this cord is not cut. It just becomes dormant, inactive, like an electrical circuit disconnected from its power source. Remember what we discussed in the first secret. By retaining your life force, your internal battery charges to very high levels. Your bioelectric field, which was once a dim bulb, becomes a powerful lighthouse. What you didn't know is that this lighthouse does not emit a generic signal. It emits a frequency that is uniquely yours, your vibrational signature. And this signature, now amplified, begins to reverberate through time and space. It travels along those dormant energetic cords, and, on the other end, it lights up the circuit. The person, living their life hundreds or thousands of miles away, suddenly feels something. Your image pops into their mind for no reason. They dream about you. They feel a nostalgia, a curiosity, an inexplicable impulse to know how you are. Their subconscious has picked up your strengthened signal. It is the principle of resonance. If you have two identical tuning forks in a room and you strike one, the other, even without being touched, will begin to vibrate. By strengthening your energy, you are striking your tuning fork with full force, and all the people who once vibrated at your frequency begin to resonate with you again. But here's the crucial part, the hero's test. The universe is not bringing these people back for a nostalgic reunion. It is bringing them back as a final exam. It is a surprise quiz on the lessons of your past. That ex-girlfriend who reappears. She is not just a person. She is a symbol. She represents the version of you that existed when you were with her. The perhaps weaker, needier, more reactive man you used to be. Her return is a test. Have you truly evolved? Or, faced with the same temptation, will you fall back into the same patterns, the same conversations, the same dynamic that used to trap you? Her desire for the new you can be a trap to pull you back to the old you, that old friend who calls you for the same old binge. It is a test of your discipline. Have you consolidated your new habits? Or is social pressure still enough to divert you from your purpose? Every person who resurfaces is a mirror. They show you how much you have changed, or how much you still need to change. It is a divine opportunity for healing and the closing of cycles. You have the chance to have that final conversation, not with anger or neediness, but with the clarity and strength of who you are today. You can forgive, be forgiven, and then, consciously, cut the energetic cord once and for all, not with resentment, but with gratitude for the lesson learned in this stage. The practitioner of retention must become a ruthless guardian of his present and future. Discernment is your most important weapon. The question to ask is not, why did this person come back? But rather, what have they come back for? Are they back to add to your new path? Or to test you and tempt you back to the old road? The decision of who you allow back into your life, even for a single conversation, becomes an act of profound self-awareness. Many will be repelled by your new energy, as it illuminates the shadows they do not want to see. Others will try to cling to you, to siphon the vitality you have cultivated. A few, perhaps, will be ready to meet you at your new frequency. The final choice is yours. To allow the ghosts of the past to drain the power you fought so hard to accumulate, or to use these encounters as the graduation ceremony of your evolution, closing old doors so that new, greater ones can open. If your amplified energy can cross time and space to rekindle old connections, what do you think it does to the people standing right in front of you? The same signal that travels along the dormant chords of the past is being broadcast at full strength in the environment you are in, and, more importantly, your system is now tuned not only to emit, but also to receive. It is here that Secret 3, the awakening of telepathy and intuitive sensitivity manifests. Let's be clear, We are not talking about reading minds like a comic book superhero. The reality is much more subtle and, frankly, much more useful. It is the ability to perceive what is not said. It is reading the energy behind the words, the intention behind the smile, and the truth behind the social mask that everyone wears, as you continue to retain and transmute your life force. Your nervous system, which was once overloaded and desensitized by excessive stimuli and constant depletion, begins to purify and refine itself. Think of your expanded auric field no longer as a lighthouse, but as an extremely sensitive satellite dish. It begins to pick up on the energetic transmissions of other people. What does this mean in practice? You are in a business meeting. Someone is presenting a project with confident words and a smile on their face, but you feel something different. You perceive a dissonance, a subtle insecurity in the vibration of their voice, a micro-expression of hesitation that lasts for a fraction of a second. Your intuition alerts you. He doesn't believe what he's saying, and, weeks later, you find out the project was unfeasible, and he knew it all along. You meet someone new at a social event. The person is polite, asks the right questions, seems genuinely interested, but you feel a noise in their energy, a hidden agenda. You perceive that their interest is not in you as a person, but in what they can get from you. Your sensitivity has become a lie and intention detector. This ability is not supernatural. It is your brain, now nourished, and with its clarity restored, operating at a higher level of data processing. It captures and decodes nonverbal language micro-expressions, changes in tone, body posture with frightening precision. At the same time, your energetic field interacts with the other person's, allowing you to feel the coherence, or lack thereof, between what the person feels and what they express. It is here that the hero's challenge arises. This new power is a double-edged sword. With great sensitivity comes the need for great discernment. At first, you may feel overwhelmed. Entering a crowded environment, like a shopping mall or a concert, can be exhausting, as your antenna is picking up the anxiety, anger, and stress of hundreds of people at once. The test is to learn to filter the signal from the noise. It is to differentiate your own mental projection, your insecurities, your fears from the pure intuition you are receiving. The key is inner silence. The calmer and more centered you are, the clearer and more precise your perception becomes. Retention forces you to practice meditation and self-awareness, not as a hobby, but as a survival tool to navigate this new world of heightened sensitivity. The final choice becomes clear. You can either become a sponge, passively absorbing all the energies around you and becoming reactive and unstable, or you can become a master of your own domain, using this sensitivity as a compass that guides you away from false people and situations and points you in the direction of genuine alliances, true opportunities, and a deeper understanding of human nature. By mastering this power, you stop just hearing what people say and start understanding who they really are. When your mind transforms into a tuned antenna, capable of detecting the dissonances and hidden intentions in your environment, a natural and powerful consequence begins to manifest. Your body, in perfect harmony with your new perception, develops the ability to react to these signals with a speed and efficiency that borders on the supernatural. Sharp perception is the alert, the instant response is the protection. It is here that secret for enhancement of reflexes and energetic protection is revealed. This secret manifests in two layers, one physical and one energetic. Both are the direct result of a central nervous system that is no longer being constantly depleted, but is instead being nourished and strengthened by your most potent life force. First, the physical layer, enhanced reflexes. You will begin to notice it in small, everyday situations. The key that slips from your hand, but somehow you catch it in mid-air without even thinking. The glass that tips over on the table, and your arm moves to grab it before the liquid spills. When driving, you brake a fraction of a second before a danger becomes obvious. as if you predicted the other car's movement. In a conversation, the right answer, the perfect objection, appears in your mind instantly, not 5 minutes later. This isn't magic. It is neurobiology operating at its optimal level. Semen retention provides your body with a surplus of the most vital nutrients and minerals, zinc, magnesium, lecithin, that are essential for the health of the brain, and the myelin sheath insulation that coats your nerves. A well-nourished and robust nervous system transmits electrical signals faster. The lag, the delay between sensory perception and muscular response, decreases dramatically. Add to this the mental clarity you have acquired. Your mind is no longer bogged down in a swamp of useless thoughts and mental fog. With less internal noise, your brain processes information from the external world with impressive speed. The mind-body connection, which was once weak and intermittent, becomes a direct fiber optic line. Your body learns to trust and act on the instant signals of your intuition, often bypassing the slow process of conscious thought. You don't react, you respond. But it is in the second layer that the true power of self-defense manifests. Energetic protection. If your expanded aura functions as an antenna to receive information, it also functions as a shield to project strength. You become a coherent, high-vibration energy field, and by a fundamental law of energetic physics, lower, chaotic frequencies have difficulty penetrating or even approaching a high, stable frequency. What does this mean in practice? People with negative intentions, the manipulators, the gossipers, the energy vampires who once felt comfortable in your presence, now begin to avoid you. They may not know why, but in your presence, they feel uncomfortable. Your clarity and energetic solidity act as a mirror that reflects their own incoherence and negativity back at them, and that is a sight most cannot bear. You will notice that you get into fewer conflicts. Arguments that seemed inevitable simply do not happen. The person who came armed for a fight, upon approaching you, seems to lose their momentum, as if their hostility dissipates upon entering your calm and powerful energy field. Your presence, by itself, becomes a pacifying agent and a powerful deterrent. This happens because your energy projects, non-verbally, a clear and unequivocal signal. I am sovereign of my own space. I am not an easy target. Predators, of all kinds, are hardwired to seek easy prey targets with weak, scattered, and reactive energy. Your new posture, your firm gaze, the calm in your voice, and most importantly, the invisible force you emanate, communicate that messing with you will cost more energy than they are willing to spend. It is here that the hero's test deepens. Your challenge is to learn to trust this shield. It is to listen to that first signal from your intuition that tells you, stay away from this person or don't enter this room, and to act accordingly, knowing that your defense system is guiding you. True protection is not about being aggressive or intimidating. It is about cultivating an inner fortress so solid that external negativity simply cannot find an entry point. It is the quiet strength of the oak that withstands the storm, rather than the fury of the lightning that destroys everything around it. The final choice at this stage is clear: to continue strengthening this inner citadel through discipline and awareness, becoming a safe harbor for yourself and those you protect, or to give in to temptations, creating cracks in your shield and becoming, once again, vulnerable to the storms and invaders of the outside world. Those who choose the first path learn that the greatest protection is not a wall you build. After expanding your presence, confronting your past, sharpening your perception, and building your energetic shield, you might ask yourself, what is the purpose of all this? The journey of semen retention is not about becoming an impregnable fortress just to isolate yourself from the world. It is about accumulating the necessary energetic capital to become a creator. It is about transforming the lead of raw instinct into the gold of enlightened consciousness. This is the final and most important secret of all. Secret 5. The transmutation of energy into spiritual clarity and purpose. All the previous secrets dealt with how your accumulated energy interacts with the outer world. This final secret deals with the alchemy that happens in your inner world. The energy you have preserved does not stagnate. The body, in its innate wisdom, recognizes that this high-potency life force is not being used for physical procreation and begins to redirect it toward a higher form of creation. The ancient traditions have mapped this process. The Taoist masters taught that seminal energy, the essence called Jing, when preserved, is refined and transforms into Qi, the life force energy that animates your body and organs. If the Qi continues to be cultivated and is not wasted, it is sublimated further, becoming Shen, which can be translated as your spiritual energy, your consciousness, your higher mind. Similarly, the yogi tradition describes the creation of Oja, a subtle and precious substance that is the purest extract of all the body's tissues. Ojas can only be accumulated when a man's sexual energy bindu is consciously preserved. It is what gives the sparkle to the eyes, robust immunity, deep mental peace, and an aura of spiritual luster. What these traditions are describing is a process of internal alchemy. You are taking the densest, most primal and instinctual energy you possess, sexual desire, and elevating it, channeling it to the higher energy centers of your body, primarily the heart and the brain. And what happens when this high-octane fuel begins to nourish your mind and spirit? First, you experience superior mental clarity. This transcends the mere absence of mental fog. It is the ability to see the big picture. You begin to understand complex systems, to see the hidden connections between events, to perceive patterns where you once only saw chaos. Your mind, which was once a stormy sea, tossed by the incessant waves of desire and distraction, becomes a serene, crystal-clear lake. And in that silence, for the first time, you can hear Dot, and what you hear is the awakening of purpose. The question that haunts most men, what did I come here to do? What is my mission? Ceases to be a source of anxiety and begins to receive an answer. This answer does not come as a logical thought, but as a deep intuition, an unshakable certainty that emerges from your core. With the constant noise of low-level desire silenced, the signal of your soul, of your true self, finally becomes clear. You stop looking for your passion and realize it was already there, waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear it. This clarity of purpose unlocks unlimited creative power. The energy of creation, at its most basic level, creates another life. At its highest level, this same energy creates businesses, creates art, writes books, solves scientific problems, leads communities. The impulse that once drove you to seek a 15-second pleasure now drives you to work for hours on end on your project. Not out of obligation, but out of an overwhelming passion. You no longer need motivation hacks. You become the very source of motivation. Finally, all of this culminates in a genuine spiritual connection. You begin to feel, directly and experientially, that you are part of something much greater than your small ego. A sense of peace and trust in the flow of life sets in. The fear of death diminishes. The need for external validation disappears, because you find an infinite source of validation within yourself. You feel guided, as if the universe is conspiring in your favor, not because you asked it to, but because you have finally aligned with its frequency. It is here that the final hero's test presents itself. The power you have accumulated is not yours to be hoarded selfishly. The clarity you have achieved is not to be used only for your own benefit. The purpose you have discovered demands to be expressed in the world. The responsibility is now immense. The choice is no longer between giving in to an impulse or resisting it. The choice becomes, will I use this divine force to create, to serve, and to build a legacy that transcends me? Or will I allow fear and comfort to make me stagnate, turning my accumulated gold into a dead weight? The journey of semen retention, in its essence, is not about abstaining from sex. It is about consciously choosing which master you will serve, your lowest instinct or your highest purpose. It is the path of transforming the animal man, governed by impulses, into the God-man, a conscious co-creator of his own reality. The journey we have covered today has revealed 5 secrets, 5 gateways that open when a man decides to become the master of his own life force. What begins with an inexplicable magnetism evolves into a deep reconnection with the past, awakens an intuition that reads the unseen world, builds a shield of protection, and finally, culminates in the highest purpose. The transmutation of desire into spiritual and creative power. What was once just a biological instinct is now revealed as the key to your maximum potential. This is not an easy journey. It demands discipline and awareness. The temptations to waste this power are constant, but the reward for those who persist is authentic. Sovereignty over their own life. If this exploration has resonated with you and you feel the call to go deeper on this journey of self, I want to invite you to act. If this content brought you value, leave a like so that it can reach more men. In the comments, write which of the 5 secrets impacted you the most and why. Your perspective enriches our exchange. Most importantly, subscribe to the Neuro Alchemy channel and activate the bell so you don't miss a single step of this journey. Here, we are building a community of men committed to their evolution. Thank you for your presence and attention. The power to transform your reality is already within you. See you in the next video.